when one animal holds the entire world to ransom for months, being the source of the most debilitating pandemic. Then there is bound to be abject panic when hundreds of bats just drop dead. Yes, in the last 24 hours, panic and curiosity peaked when reports from Ara, Bihar, of dead bats being found in mango orchards. As carcasses were sent for autopsy, fears of a health scare began to circulate, till autopsy reports confirmed. Cause of death, heat stroke. Well, there was a sense of great panic and a health scare in areas of Gorakhpur, in Ara, Bihar and around. And of course, as these visuals started filtering in, everybody raised their eyebrows on what was going on. Well, the autopsy reports of the bats came in just about a couple of hours ago, and it is confirmed heat stroke. As per a lot of officials who we spoke to, they said that when temperatures go over 40 degrees Celsius, then bats is difficult to survive for bats, and that is the reason for the mass death of bats that we've been witnessing in states like Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. Good evening, you're watching To The Point. I'm Preeti Chaudhary, and I'm going to take you directly to our top focus this evening, which is the big showdown that is erupted, a political showdown that's erupted on the lockdown in India. Was it a success? Was it a failure? India is now in the 4th phase of lockdown, but COVID cases continue to rise. Politics is now heating up over the efficacy of this lockdown. While Congress has termed successive lockdowns a failure, the government has fired the politicking charge on the opposition. Here's the full detailed report. Unprecedented times demand unprecedented measures. So India walked that unprecedented line. In the wake of a debilitating pandemic, India announced the world's largest lockdown. 65 days ago, 24th of March, 1.3 billion people were told, stay at home.
संपूर्ण देश में संपूर्ण लॉकडाउन होने जा रहा है। देश में ये लॉकडाउन 21 दिन का होगा।
21 days later came Lockdown 2.0. The versions kept updating till now, with India staring down at Lockdown 5.0. The country far from flattening the curve. Instead, the number of fresh cases rising. India has more than 150,000 cases now, raising one question, now finding political echo. Was this lockdown a failure or a success?
We are the only country in the world where the virus is exponentially rising, and we are removing a lockdown. So it is pretty clear that the aim and the purpose of our lockdown has failed.
He is trying to weaken the resolve of the country in the fight against corona. This campaign is based upon falsehood, misrepresentation, and deliberate twisting of facts.
The lockdown inevitably spun the narrative of a crippling economy, job insecurity, human suffering, and opened the floodgates to pandemic politics. Rahul Gandhi and the BJP now trading charges.
We, with utmost respect, want to ask the Prime Minister and the government, now that we have a failed lockdown, what is their strategy going forward? How are they thinking about supporting our migrants? How are they thinking about supporting the state governments? How are they thinking about supporting small and medium businesses?
Is spreading negativity, working against the nation during crisis. तीसरा, hungry for false credit. राहुल गांधी अपने राजनीतिक विरोध में इतना अधिक आगे बढ़ गए हैं कि जो प्रोफेशनल बॉडीज हैं उन पर भी झूठे आरोप लगाना उनकी फितरत बन गई है।
Professional bodies in charge of dispensing the COVID information have maintained that India has been able to balance the economic and human cost of this pandemic.
इंडिया में लॉकडाउन और साथ में कंटेनमेंट पर जो हमारे एफर्ट रहे हैं उसके कारणवश हम ये पाते हैं कि करीब 10.7 लाख केसेस पर लाख हमारे यहाँ रिपोर्ट हुए हैं। वर्ल्ड में ओवरऑल 6.4% फैटेलिटी रेट ऑब्जर्व किया गया है। तो इंडिया हैज वन ऑफ द लोएस्ट फैटेलिटी रेट अमंग द कंट्रीज जहां पर की हायर केसेस रिपोर्ट हुए हैं।
However, data suggests that India's COVID graph continues to rise. But despite the rise in numbers, Lockdown 5.0 starting 1st June will ease more curbs. So was the biggest lockdown in the world in India a success as touted by the government or a failure as alleged by the opposition? While it's politics as usual, the answer to that question lies on which side of the COVID story you stand on. Bureau Report, India Today. All right, while we leave it for our viewers to decide on what do they think, whether this lockdown has been a success, it's been a failure, for our political parties and our political class, that conclusion has been clearly drawn. For the Congress, this has been a failure. The last 65 days of the lockdown has come to absolutely nothing, which was elucidated today by Rahul Gandhi. On the other hand, for the BJP, this has been a stupendous success. We haven't had the kind of mortality rate which we possibly would have had. Compared to other countries, we've done phenomenally well. We're all staring down at lockdown 5.0, but the politics continues to peak. Taking forward the debate, I have with me on the show today RP Singh, National Secretary BJP, and Dr. Shamma Mohammed, spokesperson Congress. Dr. Shamma Mohammed, I'd like to begin with you. Ms. Mohammed, at this point of time, when the opposition, when the government should all come together, the Congress, as per the government, is doing nothing but feeding off on politics of pandemic by calling it a failure and going against what even government agencies are saying, that we've done quite well.
First and foremost, Preeti, let me make one thing clear. Rahul Gandhi has always said that I will not criticize the government, but I will give them suggestions. And he's always done that. Bharatiya Janata Party should understand the enemy is not the Congress party, it is not the opposition, it is not the TMC or whatever the other parties are. The enemy we are fighting here is COVID, and we need to save Indian lives. They have to understand that people are the most important here, the Indian people, and it's not about anything else. Now, let me put into perspective certain points out here. The lockdown was started on March 24th. In the evening, we were given 4 hours. On 25th morning, it started. At that point of time, the number of cases were around 450 or so. And the death was nine cases. Now, after more than 2 months, we have 1.5 lakh of active cases and more than nearly 4,500 deaths. So what we have seen is that during this lockdown 1, 2, and 3, the number of cases have exponentially gone up and the death rate has also gone up. So where can it be success? Number one. Number two, our people are basically dying of starvation. You saw, I saw, and Mr. RP Singh saw what happened today. It was viral, that video of a lady lying on a railway platform dead and her child trying to wake her up. And what did she die of? Starvation. We have 77 million tons of food in FCI, in our storage. But why are our people dying? Because the lockdown was done completely the wrong way. When you're giving, you should first and foremost, the government of India should have given time at least 3 days to take the migrants back or tell them that you can go back at this point. All right, they have done it in 4 hours. Then what do they do in the first 10 days is help them to go back to their homes or give them money into their accounts. The reason why this has happened is they started leaving, they started walking back because they did not have money. You know, the MSMEs have all closed down. The small industries which hire migrant laborers or the construction firms, many of them asked them to leave, and they did not have anything even to eat. So just 10 seconds more. What I'm trying to say is that when you impose a lockdown like this, give them money, but they started going back. But then the government was quiet. When did they start taking them back? After 2 months, when community spread has happened. So most of them were infected, and they take them back. For example, now the cases in Bihar have gone up. One, the cases in many of these Rajasthan have gone up because of even in Kerala, because of people going back. Number two, what they should have done, what does lockdown do? It just, stops the spread. It is supposed to stop the spread. But here what we have done is we haven't done enough testing. During this time, our health facilities should be improved and we should have stopped this, the spread could have been reduced by more testing, by more finding out where these sources are coming from, quarantining them. This is how it happens. You have to test, trace, and quarantine. But that was not happening. It was only, and what about the financial package? Have you seen other prime ministers and presidents talking? They are not attacking the opposition. They take suggestion, and there should have been a national task force, including opposition members, talking to them, telling them what is happening. Look at the 40 trains which have gone, where all? 40 trains have lost direction. Who's responsible? Who is responsible for food not being in the trains? So these are very imperative questions, and we are putting across. We as a principal opposition party, we feel it's our duty when our citizens, our children are dying. You know how many people have walked to
All right, Shama, you've had your say, and I hope you... Shama, you've had your say. I hope you'd accord the same courtesy to Sardar R.P. Singh because he's patiently heard you out. I want to bring him in the debate now. R.P. Singh, the opposition in the beginning, lockdown 1, lockdown 2, lockdown 3, most of the times they turn around and said we were with you. Lockdown 5, you're staring at, they're 65 days down. And I'd ask our producers to pull out numbers on how from lockdown 1 to lockdown 4, we've seen a constant increase. We are still increasing, registering some of the biggest spikes we ever have till now. Now, Sardar R.P. Singh, why shouldn't someone say that this lockdown has been a failure? Because we are still seeing massive cases, we are still seeing record-breaking spikes day in and day out.
Well, let me start with this, Preeti. Madam Shama proves to be a better person than the Rahul Gandhi when she comes on coming forward with certain issues and subjects than Rahul Gandhi, because when I heard Rahul Gandhi, he was utterly confused person when he addressed the complete issue of the lockdown. Because at some stage he says we should go for lockdown, at some stage he says we should not go for lockdown. When it comes to owning responsibility, he says, oh, we are not part of the Maharashtra government. We have nothing to do with Maharashtra government. It's the Maharashtra government is led by Shiv Sena. And then in the later evening, he calls up the Maharashtra, the son of the Maharashtra chief minister, and trying to do some patchwork. So that's what the nutshell of the press conference the Rahul Gandhi was. There's not a single suggestion. He was just criticizing the government, and at this time of epidemic, he was just criticizing. Now coming back to the issue of how this has helped or not helped the lockdown. Let's understand, when we started, when we went for lockdown, we just had 500 cases. And what was the state of the other countries like Italy and Spain, which he refers to, or Madam Shama was referring to? There were thousands of people who died and thousands of people who were suffering that time when they went for lockdown. We went for early lockdown, and Indian Institute of Statistics, Calcutta, not me, they say that had we not gone for lockdown, the figure would have been something like 78,000, and then the patients would have been something like 12 lakh patients in the country. What is the death mortality rate today? We know that. And also, when we started, what was the doubling rate and what's the doubling rate today? We know that also. So, issue is Congress is easy at criticizing. I mean, that's what they want to do. But he has right to criticize also, but he has to take his chief minister on board. His chief minister, Mr. Gehlot, says otherwise. Mr. Captain Amrinder Singh says otherwise. And so he's not even talking to chief ministers within his party also. His chief minister said we should extend lockdown. He said, why should we extend lockdown? And coming to the migrant issue, ma'am, I request you hold it and don't make true politics. If I tell you 3 things, you'll be shocked. What happened in Aurangabad? Let's talk about that. Why did your leaders, your partner leaders, played politics in Maharashtra to push people to go back? And were we prepared? You said that why didn't we allow the migrant labor initially to go back? Was country prepared that time? Today we are prepared with 10 lakh beds. 10 lakh, we have arrangement for 10 lakh patients. We have only 80,000 patients. And that time we were not even prepared for even one patient. So this lockdown period has gone in gearing up the nation to be prepared and gearing up the states to be prepared. We didn't have PPE kits. We didn't have N95.
Okay.
Today we are surplus. We are manufacturing we were importing PPE kits and N95. Today states say that we need 1 lakh PPE kits. We need 2 lakh PPE kits. Have them. We need so many test kits. Have them. So this is the preparedness time. And I'm sorry, states which have used that fund, they have done well. What has Maharashtra done? What has Rajasthan done? Okay, and if I have to play politics, I have to make another point. I have to play politics. The number of population which count for the state ruled and governed by the Congress or associate states is 22%. and the contribution to the pandemic is 48%. I don't want to get to that figure and data. I'm not prepared to let you down. But issue is, let's fight this together. Let's not make this a tutu-mama issue.
All right, okay. I'm going to take just 30 seconds each from the both of you. And Shama, can you tell me three things right now, 3 questions that you would want to ask the government today on what preparations have been done, or what are the questions that the opposition wants to ask of the BJP going into lockdown 5.0 when you say it's been a failure?
Okay, before that, I just want to correct Mr. Singh on the doubling rate. He should understand maths that when it's 50, when you double, it's 100. When it's 2,000, when you double, it's 4,000. That's why the doubling rate is slow as we go higher. So that is just something called common sense, which of course the Bharatiya Janata Party as well as Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad doesn't seem to have or understand what it is. So that is about the doubling rate. And about the PPE kits, he spoke about PPE kits.
Okay.
We know what has happened in Himachal. No, let me expose. No, he's been talking about, I need to talk about this. In Himachal Pradesh, their president resigned today, Dr. Rajiv Bindal, because they were taking bribes around 5 lakh or whatever for PPE kits, for getting PPE, along with the health director whose name is Dr. Ajoy Gupta. So this is what their party has been doing. You know what has happened in Gujarat? Gujarat, he was saying that we have provided kits, everything. They got ventilators, 5,000 so-called ventilators, which was given to the Ahmedabad Civil Hospital, and they're not ventilators but ambu bags. You know what ambu bags are? So, and then they have asked, and the central government funded it, basically saying that, this is from the Prime Minister.
I have 30 seconds now for Sardar RP Singh. I have exactly 30 seconds. I need to go to Sardar RP Singh for 30 seconds and I need to close the debate, Shama.
This is not, what a debate is this if you're calling us for 5 minutes? I'm not.
Well, Shama, it's not 5 minutes, it's a 10-minute debate. You've had your time.
So then no more of these debates.
1 second.
10 minutes because I need to finish my point.
1 second. I want to go to RP Singh for the final 30 seconds here. And RP Singh, the question I want to ask you is, there have been relevant questions raised by Shama, by the Congress. Tell us, what is the plan for MSME? Do you accept that the government has failed in the migrant crisis? Because still there are trains being delayed. You've had deaths being reported.
Starvation, deaths, direct transfer of money.
1 second, can I just go to RP Singh? RP Singh, I give you 30 seconds and I need to close the debate.
Very simple, very simple. They have ill-treated the migrant labor in the state, and tomorrow they are going to suffer because of that, because those migrant labor are not coming back. UP is arranging for those 20 lakh laborers, and they are providing for them, for their health, for their employment. I mean, that's what the positive thinking is. It's not that pointing figures. And then they have charged money for those migrant laborers.
We have no money right now. The economy is down. The lockdown has finished us. What is your plan? There is no economy.
Okay, all right. I need to close this debate because there's anyway absolutely no point if you're going to be talking over each other. But ultimately, I would reckon that one needs to go beyond positive thinking. The government says it has a plan in place. The opposition said no plan. You're in lockdown 5.0 in 3 days. And it seemed that the last 65 days have been an abject failure. Well, we'll know better on Sunday, when we'll hopefully hear the Prime Minister speak on the way ahead. With that, I just want to shift focus on what we've been witnessing, we've been seeing, especially on viral videos there, of swarms of locust. Well, swarms of desert locust have made their way to at least 6 states, leaving with it a trail of devastation, destruction. Now, the locust moves in large groups called swarms, can eat crop up to their own weight every day. When millions of locusts descend on a crop, they eat up everything in a matter of just hours. And now, these swarms of locusts are even terrifying cities. If a pandemic wasn't enough, a cyclone tore through Bengal. And now, locust. Swarms of locust over Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, attacking fields, eating up standing crop within hours, leaving in its wake a trail of destruction and misery. In what is slowly registering as the worst locust attack we have seen in 3 decades. Till now, over 104,000 acres of cotton, summer pulses and vegetable crops have been totally destroyed by locust in 6 states.
टिड्डी आई थी अभी हाल पूरी फसल को पेटे मेटे पूरे नष्ट कर दिए हम तो बर्बाद हो गए महाराज
जानवर आए थे तो वो सब लोग खा गए थे टिड्डे हटे गिद्दी हटी बाजरा तो
पूरा नष्ट हो गया
हाँ सारे चले गए 3,000 रुपया की लागत लगी थी
To minimize crop damage, state governments have activated a pesticide campaign. Farmers on their own are using smoke, loud noise to ward off swarms, beating thalis. And here, an enterprising farmer has set up a DJ console in his field in Uttar Pradesh. Multiple swarms of locusts have dotted northern and central India and are moving with the wind direction. Terrifying cities squatting on rooftops. This is a roof in Jaipur. This is Jaipur's famous Johari Bazaar. The pink city's skyline overcast by a sea of buzzing brown hungry mass, which is now moving from Jaipur to Delhi. An alert has been sounded. If the current wind direction prevails, the national capital could witness scenes like these. It's been a long season of a nasty virulent virus, of a storm slamming into a state of abject human suffering. And now, as northern and central India look up to apocalyptic skies, one does wonder, when will it all be done? When will India walk under blue skies again? Bureau Report, India Today. So we do know it's the worst locust attack that we have seen in 3 decades, but exactly how bad is it and what can we see in days to come? Is this locust swarm also going to come down to the national capital and other cities? How is it going to travel? And what will it leave in terms of the devastation in its wake? I'm joined right now by Dr. Priya Darshana Dharmarajan, Senior Fellow, Ashoka Trust for Research in Ecology and the Environment. I am also joined by Dr. Mohammad Faisal, entomologist, Yamuna Biodiversity Park, and he's a consultant with LCO. If you're wondering what LCO is, well, it is the Locust Control Office. Every state has one. We were very surprised when we found out that there are locust control offices, but yes. I'm also joined right now by my colleague Shiv Arur, who takes a very keen interest in insects. I don't know anyone else who knows more about insects than him, and he's been tracking the locust invasion in north and central India very closely. Mr. Faisal, I want to begin with you. Now, there is a fear, and I believe there's also a likelihood that locust swarms could be seen in Delhi very soon. Now, the LCO predicts that it all depends on the direction of the wind. What are you expecting?
Actually, generally in these months, the wind direction are northwesterly or westerly. So on that basis, I can say that they can arrive in Delhi.
All right, so on that basis, you can say that they can arrive in Delhi. I want to take one quick question with Mr. Priyadarshan, and I'm going to move on to Shiv. Mr. Priyadarshan, at this point of time, you know, when I was researching, it seems to suggest that these swarms have come in early. Now, what explains this arrival of locust in such large numbers at this time, specifically in India?
I would attribute this to climate change. When it rains in the deserts, when it rains harshly in the summer, it creates a good environment for grasshoppers to become locusts. On the usual days, they are sparse. They depend on the sparse vegetation in the deserts. And when there is some less green oasis forms in the deserts, these grasshoppers swarm into the into such desert oases, and they profusely reproduce.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. I want to quickly move on to Shiv. Shiv, you know, we saw those terrifying visuals of Jaipur where you saw locusts squatting on rooftops. You know, the Hawa Mahal completely, all you could see was a brown haze in front of it. What are we expecting? Because now we do know, we have an understanding at what it can do to, say, standing crop, eat it away in a matter of hours. But when you see these swarms of locusts in Delhi, are we expecting it very soon? Because we just heard that expert who suggested that it's very possible in the next 24 hours.
Preeti, highly possible. Most, weather experts, and remember the Indian Met Department is working with the Agriculture Department now, and all indications are that there is a very good chance that the National Capital Region, will see the arrival of these locusts in some form or the other. If we're very lucky, it'll bypass the National Capital Region, but there is a chance that at least some part of the NCR, will see some of these swarms of locusts. Now, just taking Delhi, for example, since you asked about cities, and that's a great question, Preeti, because so far standing crops have been ravaged by these swarms, but Delhi has a 22% green cover, Preeti, and it is surrounded by agricultural, areas and zones. So keeping the agriculture side part aside, because we know what the locusts can do to standing crops, in Delhi, the green cover can be devastated completely, and that could have huge effects on, Delhi's upkeep, the lives of citizens. We already have a city that is ravaged by pollution. In that story that just went on air, you talked about when we're going to see blue skies again. Even though pollution levels are less now, the arrival of locusts could devastate things in a city like Delhi. And these are extremely hardy insects. They're some of the oldest species on Earth, Preeti. They reproduce very fast. They fly very fast. They use wind direction. They've got a voracious appetite. They really are, in many ways, the perfect biblical creature. And that's one of the reasons why they've been written about through history as well. So I think we should be praying and hoping that the perfect storm that has allowed these locusts to come here and breed in such a big way, something happens and that they suddenly disappear. We're just hoping for that.
Appreciate you joining us, Shiv. With that, it's a wrap and to the point. Thank you for joining us. Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.